see dope people.
Welcome back to Dope People. I am your host, Hayden Green. I am Brooklyn's favorite Polymath, and this is the show where we talk to dope people. Now, listen, if you didn't grow up in the 80s, like LeRonn, you grew up in the 80s, right?
Yes, sir.
We're contemporaries, right? So if you didn't grow up in the 80s, you may not know what the term dope means, but dope really speaks to something that's awesome, that's amazing, that you really want to celebrate. So here we talk to people who I think are dope. And we'll dive into a little bit about why my guest thinks that they're dope as well. Today we have LeRonn McGowan. How are you, my man?
Thank you. I'm here. I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm a summer baby. My birthday just passed, so I'm not gonna say I'm living my best life. I'm having a great time because it's summer. I'm just happy, sun's
well,
out.
It's summer. You got the guns out, man. I didn't know we were at the gun show over here, and I gotta warn my. I'd have worn my tank top too, so I could be in the gun show with you.
And then 3 push-ups, right? Podcast real
quick. Listen, but I got my dad joke loading show.
That's
on.
Fresh. I like it.
I wanna. We'll get into your podcast in a little bit later, but in the podcast we talk about who you think is a dope person. We use that as a litmus test. So. Talk to me about who you think is the dopest person that you've ever met, whether it's somebody you met or somebody you actually know.
Okay, and I gotta tell you, this is kind of like somebody asking, "Who's your top 5?"
Right, it is.
Because I know a lot of dope people, including yourself. But my favorite dope person will be my grandmother. Okay. My grandmother, we had a great connection. Favorite person in the world. She was her house is always the comfort zone, like, which I never realized till she passed. Like, you walk to my grandmother's house and all of a sudden just feel like everything's off your shoulders, and talking to her, anything that's on your mind, I'm just venting. And the next day she calls me or texts me, she got a solution for it. I'm like, damn, you work fast. I wasn't even looking for answers, but
right.
Her house is always a community center. That's where we celebrated Christmas, and anybody who come through, they're like, they felt comfortable because she always talked to you. Is a peer, and I guess not really knowing, kind of like a therapist.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I was her favorite. And then it's so funny, and I know I'm her favorite. When she passed, and at the funeral, and everyone's talking, everybody's like, "Yeah, I felt like her favorite." I'm like, "Oh, damn, Grandma, you got everybody." You know what I'm saying? So for somebody to make everybody feel special, dope thing, and she did a lot for me. Just coming up, helping me out, helping me along. So yes, that is the dopest person I know off the top of my head.
That is amazing. The way you describe it, I wish I could meet her, man. But I feel like a lot of us have those people in our family where I just said a thing and then a solution was coming along the line, and I didn't even think that I needed the solution, but you were listening and not even realizing that they were listening to you. That's amazing. That's dope. So listen, I've known you for very many years. I think that you do a bunch of amazing things. I love your podcast. You have a podcast that's coming up. That's currently going right now. You talk to dads. That's why I had my dad joke loading, and I think that's so necessary. When I
appreciate that double entendre there. Entendre, whatever you say it.
There you go. And so one of the things that I was really one of the things I've always been impressed with you is that you are a brother's brother, right? You and I are both part of the same fraternity. We are Phi Beta Sigma men.
Yes, sir.
But I always knew that you were an easy person to talk to. I always knew you had a story to tell. And the thing that was dopest about you was like there was always a sort of relevance to the conversation that we were talking. You ever talk to somebody and you're like, that person didn't hear a thing I just said. They were just talking to talk. But talking with you is always it always feels like that you are sharing your stories because they're pertinent to what I'm going through or what the next brother that they're listening is going through. And you're really interested in what brothers have to say, but what the world has to say. Now, your day job, makes you see the world from a really interesting point of view. So I know when you get around us, it's probably a really comforting space to really speak to brothers and speak to people that understand you and really are looking to celebrate life the way that you celebrate life. So that's been my dopest thing that I love about you, bro.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's great to hear. I've never heard that before, but I'm glad to hear it. Definitely want to be a positive impact on anybody here around.
Listen, gotta tell brothers more often, right? Like, here's what I
Facts.
find dope about you. That's what this whole podcast is about. I think that it started off with me just like, I need to tell the people that I know that they are dope, because sometimes you don't hear it
Nice.
as often as they need to. So I'm glad that it resonated with you. All right, well, listen, LeRonn, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about what you think you do that is dope. It could be something a one time, or it could be over and over. But I know that you're a dope person, but I want to hear why you think that you're a dope person. And we'll do that right as we come back.
Now to your sponsor.
And we are back, and my guest today is LeRonn, and he's one of my fraternity brothers, and a podcaster, and a really good guy. And the podcast is, and he'll probably get into it, and he may get into it, is about dads. But LeRonn, this is Dope People, and I want to know, what makes you a dope person in your eyes?
What makes me a dope person in my eyes is that I believe in myself, and I haven't always been there, but I believe I'm great, and I am, and not that I'm better than anybody else, but within me, I am great. I things that I've always wanted to do, I'm doing, and not necessarily like financially rich or anything, not yet, not wealthy, not yet, by far. But
we'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually. But as far as like I've always wanted to box. Now I'm in boxing classes. I got a great coach, and we connect, and really good dude. I always went to coach, so now I'm coaching my son's basketball team, and I realize that I'm teaching young kids. So from now on, every time they see me till they're teenagers, I'm going to be Coach L to them, And the podcast, I think the podcast is dope because I think brothers need to realize that they're appreciated, and and like you said, like this podcast is telling people they're dope. I like to tell brothers to get their story and learn from them, and realize, let them know that you're appreciated as a Black man, as a dad as well.
That is awesome, brother. Listen, tell people where they can find this podcast. Tell us about the podcast a little bit more.
Yes, it's called the Paternal Presence Podcast, and I am the host, of course. It's on Instagram, Paternal Presence, and I'm also on, most of it is on YouTube right now. And it's LeRonn's Paternal Presence Podcast. So please check it out, comment, hit the like button, subscribe. I'd appreciate it,
Absolutely. And we'll put all of that stuff in the show notes, and we'll get you linked up so people can find you. That is amazing. Thank you, bro. Like I said, always a dope dude. And I'm happy to see you out there boxing. So when I get myself in trouble, I know who to call, so I could, have my enforcer behind me.
I got you. Just give me like a day in advance so I can go through the book. Okay, in emergency, my trainer says do this.
Duly noted. You'll be out there. Wait. Don't move. All right, now you need to be a little bit to the left. Duly noted. Well, we end the show every episode with a dope moment that I think is dope. And today we're going to talk about somebody, and her name is Augusta Savage. And a lot of people don't know this name, but she was a Harlem Renaissance sculptor. Well, she was an artist, but she's most known for her sculptures. And her she was the first African American woman to have a sculpture in a World's Fair. So she was in the 1939 World's Fair right there in Queens. And so she had this sculpture called Lift Every Voice and Sing, and people know it as the harp, right? Because it was a bunch of people lined up in decreasing size in the shape of a harp, and it was a depiction of the Black national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and as you know, was created by James Weldon Johnson, who's one of our fraternity brothers. And so the really interesting, it was dope that was there, but the really sad part about it is that at the end of a World's Fair, all of those things get removed, right? But if you don't have a benefactor, if you don't have like money or anything like that, it gets put into a trash pile or gets destroyed, because you have to have money to have somebody say, well, we'll store it here or we'll put it in a museum. So this beautiful statue that is really wonderful was destroyed after the 1939 World's Fair, and now there are little recreations of it. But I think that she was a dope sculptor, and that's our dope fact for the day.
That's some dope information. Never heard of that.
Yeah, if you look it up now, Lift Every Voice and Sing sculpture, you'll see it, and we'll put it in the podcast so people can see it as well. All right, bruh, I really appreciate everything that you shared with us today. And again, this is called Dope People. So if you know some people that should be on this show, please refer them to us. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you like, and make sure you support it and share it with your friends as much as you can. LeRonn, thank you for being on the show. And in the meantime, until the next time, go forth and be dope.
Appreciate you, Fred. Stay dope.